Okay, so first I'm going to put the valve cover gasket on here. Best way is just to kind of work it around, start at one spot and go from there. Okay, so now I'm just going to slide the valve cover on here, hopefully without this falling off. Sometimes they want to fall off, so you need to put like a little sealant or glue or something there just to kind of keep it where it needs to be. Make sure your seal is actually in the spot where it's supposed to be all around. Yeah, it looks like this one is, so we can go ahead and install the bolts here. Alright, then I'm going to torque these down to 10 Newton meters as well. Okay, then up top here we also need to install these, which are the air bypass system. These are Loctited, so be sure to do that. Okay, so that's installed now. Okay, so now we're going to install the cover right here. You can see we already got the pins in, of course, from earlier. There's no dowel pins to hold it together when you're putting it on at first. So what I like to do is get 2 of the bolts and go ahead and get them in here. Okay, so I'm just going to install these bolts first here. Okay, now these are going to be torqued down to 10 Newton meters also. Okay, so that's installed. Now all we have left to install is the starter here and the generator on this side. So flip this around so you can do that. Okay, so up next I'm going to go ahead and install the starter here. Pretty straightforward, just going to put a little bit of oil on the O-ring on it right here. It just slides right in right here. Just like that. And it has 2 bolts that go right here. This will also be torqued down to 10 Newton meters. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and start installing the starter clutch and the generator here. So you can see I still have it in one piece right here. It kind of gets stuck together because it's all magnet. You're going to pull it apart like that first. So you have the starter clutch here. The order these go in, this washer goes here. And then this collar goes here. So that's the order they go in. This whole deal is just going to go right into that bearing in there that you see. Maybe. There it is, all the way in. Make sure you got that aligned. It'll kind of be flat there if you can see that. Then the outer part goes in pretty simply. Make sure you've got your gasket on here because it's going to kind of suck it in once I put this on pretty quick. So then I'm going to put this gasket up here again, and then hopefully this time we'll get it. Of course this had to fall out. And there it is, just like that. Okay, now we just need to install this. So there's going to be different bolts for it. There's 4 of these that look like this and 3 of these larger ones. So I'm going to go ahead and start installing those now. So these are going to be torqued down to 22 Newton meters or 16 foot-pounds. And then we'll install these smaller bolts here. All right, so those are going to be torqued down to 12 Newton meters now. Okay, so we got that installed now. The next thing I need to install is a temperature sensor here. Looks just like this. It screws right here into the block. Pretty straightforward on that. It's going to be a 19 millimeter deep socket. I'm going to have to go look up and see what the torque spec is for this. But it's going to go right there. Right here we also have the transmission neutral sensor, so that's going to go ahead and go in as well right now. It's going to be a 14 millimeter. I'm going to look up the torque spec on those two. Down here at the bottom, hopefully you can see it right here, we're going to have a speed sensor actually that goes in here. Just like that. This will be torqued down to 10 Newton meters. Just like that. And then I'll put it up here to stay out of the way also. Okay, so this is going to be torqued down to 20 Newton meters, and this one will be torqued down to 18 Newton meters. So we'll start with that. Okay. Okay, and that's that neutral sensor. All right, last sensor, we have one more over here on this side, which is going to be the crankshaft position sensor. It's going to go down here at the very bottom. It's pretty straightforward. It's just going to slip right into that hole there. There we go. A little better that time. All right, so that's installed now. And it ends up snaking right up through there, kind of like that. Right there, like that. Okay, so last we'll just probably put the thermostat on and some of the intake here. Go ahead and put a bit of Loctite on this. And then that will be torqued down to 10 Newton meters. Okay. Okay, so now that we've got this in and this in, this of course I just put in with 2 bolts, Loctite 10 millimeter type deal. And now that I've got the right pipe, which is a longer one, it's gonna go right there, just like that. And this will go just right in here like this. Put that back in there so it'll quit popping out. All right, so just like that. Okay, that's installed. Okay, so the last major thing I'm going to do here is put the throttle bodies onto the engine. Of course, the first step of that is going to be reinstalling these. The rings here. Pretty easy on these. They each are numbered. This is number 4. One big thing that's a big help is you probably want to put a bit of oil around it, or they can be a real pain to get on sometimes. So there's a tab there as well. That's on the bottom and it corresponds to that tab right there. So this one should just pop right on nearly. There we are. Just like that. And they're 4 millimeters, so I'll come back and tighten these up in a few. Next we got number 3 here. Some of these clamps I'm missing, I have to order them. But don't worry. And there it is. And we've got number 2 here. Right there. Okay. And lastly, number 1 here. All right, so we got those on, so now I'm gonna tighten them down. Okay, so I've gotten all those installed, all the clamps. So now I'm gonna go ahead and install the throttle bodies here for now, just to have them on the engine. I don't know if you're gonna be able to see all this, but we'll try. Make sure these are loosened up pretty well, or these can be really hard to get on there. All right, we got it in. Okay, so now I'm just gonna go in here and tighten up these screws, and that'll be that. These don't need to be super tight, they just need to be, you know, tight. You don't want to bend the clamp, you got it so tight like the previous person did on this bike. Okay, now I'm going to turn the engine around. Okay guys, and this engine is basically done. I mean, there's a few little things I gotta finish on it, waiting on parts to come in. But overall, it's ready to go. Thanks for watching this part. There may be a little delay before we put it in the bike, but there'll be some other little videos coming, like how to do the fork seals, brake calipers, and maybe swapping an 04 to 06 input shaft and regular clutch for the 07-08 sliver clutch. So stay tuned, and thanks for watching.